And where, then, is your sweetheart, Deerslayer?
She's in the forest, Judith, hanging from the boughs of the trees in the soft rain, in the dew on the open grass, the clouds that float about in the blue heavens, the birds that sing in the woods, the sweet springs where I slake my thirst, and in all the other glorious gifts that come from God's providence.
This passionate but odd quote comes from James Fenimore Cooper's novel The Deerslayer. Cooper, a creative 19th century American writer, is trying to express the idea that a person's sense of self can be found in their culture and in nature. One's identity is the conception, qualities, beliefs, and expressions that make a person or group different from others. However, have you ever considered the source of how identity is formed and how a physical environment can influence identity? Natty Bumppo, and more commonly referred to as the Deerslayer, the protagonist of James Fenimore Cooper's novel, is as simplistic and as true as the natural environment of the book's setting. Cooper illustrates Deerslayer as a youthful man, and more importantly, a white man who was raised by Native Americans. The author portrays Deerslayer's character in such a way that the temporality of the novel's protagonist resembles his dreamlike connection to the natural world. In the closing of the second chapter of the novel, Deerslayer beholds the magnificence of Glimmerglass Lake, which is now known as Lake Otsego in New York. Natty looks out over the lake in admiration of the beautiful and mystic scenery. Imagine the motionless waters of a lake or pond, and how the water acts as a mirror, and you are able to see your reflection. Cooper demonstrates a detailed interpretation of Natty's cultural connection to the lake as he exemplifies the scenery as
being smooth as glass and limpid as pure air, throwing back the mountains clothed in the dark pines. It was the air of deep repose, the solitudes that spoke of scenes and forests untouched by human hands, the reign of nature.
This elegant account of the lake and the surrounding forest establishes Natty's passion and benevolence for the natural world around him. This character trait that Cooper develops is not a fictional idea, but a link to the views and philosophies that Native Americans still hold about nature today. The author crafts a mystical link between Natty's identity with the Native Americans and, as Cooper states, the holy calm of nature. The naturalistic view of human life and the environment we live in is going to be explained now by Haudenosaunee Confederacy member Sid Jameson.
We consider ourselves as being one with the land and stewards thereof.
This testimony from Sid, as well as the conceptual interpretation by Cooper in his novel, illustrates an ideology that human existence resides in the natural world. This podcast was created by myself, James Ham, for the Susquehanna Country course, and was made in part with Dr. Alf Sivers and Dr. Katie Fall.